Welcome to our comprehensive video guide, 10 regions most at risk from climate change by 2050. This video delves into the pressing topic of climate change and how it is projected to significantly impact various regions across the globe. As we explore each region, you'll gain insights into the unique challenges they're likely to face due to this environmental crisis. So, tune in and let's raise awareness about the consequences of climate change in the regions most vulnerable to its ramifications. Get ready to uncover the information that could help us avert these looming threats. 1. Small Island Developing States, SIDS. Small Island Developing States, SIDS, are on the front line of the battle against climate change. These islands, including the Maldives, Tuvalu, Seychelles, and Kiribati, are not just picturesque vacation spots. Instead, they are in a constant race against time and rising sea levels. As sea levels continue to rise, these islands risk losing vast amounts of land and even their entire existence. In addition to drowning coastlines, rising sea temperatures contribute to coral bleaching, which devastates marine life and local fishing industries. Freshwater sources, already scarce, face contamination from saltwater intrusion. As ecosystems begin to collapse, the very survival of SIDS communities hangs in the balance, forcing inhabitants to adapt or face overpowering loss. 2. The Arctic. The Arctic is experiencing temperature increases at a pace that far surpasses the global average. Countries such as Russia, Canada, the USA, Alaska, Norway, and Greenland, Denmark, find themselves grappling with this rapid warming. Melting ice is a stark symptom of the Arctic's warming and has profound implications on global sea levels. The thawing permafrost presents an invisible menace, releasing methane, a potent greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere, exacerbating climate change. Moreover, the loss of traditional biodiversity has rippled adverse effects across local ecosystems. Indigenous communities who rely on these resources must navigate unprecedented environmental shifts, potentially altering age-old ways of life. 3. Sub-Saharan Africa. In Sub-Saharan Africa, regions such as the Sahel and the Horn of Africa face relentless climate challenges. Countries like Niger, Chad, Mali, Ethiopia, and Somalia endure severe droughts, leading to barren lands and desertification. These conditions are stark reminders of how climate change manifests with drastic effects on agriculture. As water becomes scarce, food security is jeopardized, leaving millions vulnerable to starvation. The interconnectedness of these issues leads to socio-economic hardships, such as resource-driven conflicts and large-scale migration. Combating these pressing matters requires global efforts and localized solutions to provide resilience against an unforgiving climate. 4. South Asia. South Asia is acutely vulnerable to a variety of climate-related threats, with countries including Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka bearing the brunt. Flooding, driven by monsoon rains and rising sea levels, frequently devastates urban and rural landscapes. Cyclones add to the destruction, tearing through dense population zones. Meanwhile, heatwaves and glacier melting in the Himalayas significantly impact agriculture, threatening food supply chains. Crop failures not only affect economic stability but also push millions toward poverty and hunger. These compounded threats require urgent attention to institute adaptive measures and robust infrastructure to withstand the climate onslaught. 5. Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia, countries such as Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, and Myanmar find themselves on a precarious edge due to escalating climate threats. Rising sea levels threaten to engulf coastal communities, while urban flooding becomes a frequent and costly occurrence. The capital city of Indonesia, Jakarta, is in a perpetual fight against water inundation. Extreme weather, including tropical storms, disrupts normal agricultural patterns, leading to decreased production and food insecurity. These impacts, along with socio-economic complications, demand comprehensive climate adaptation strategies to fortify the region against foreseeable adversities. 6. Amazon Rainforest, South America. The Amazon rainforest, stretching across Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia, is a vital carbon sink for the planet. However, deforestation driven by agricultural expansion and illegal logging threatens to convert this lush expanse into barren lands. As ecosystems collapse, biodiversity faces unprecedented threats, endangering countless species. The Amazon's lungs of the Earth potential dwindles, contributing further to global carbon emissions. Left unchecked, these processes could transform this life-giving jungle into a net emitter of carbon, exacerbating climate woes and destabilizing regional weather patterns. 7. The Mediterranean region. An interval of blissful summers is turning into an alarming reality of relentless heatwaves in the Mediterranean region. Countries like Spain, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and North African nations such as Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt are facing heatwaves with increasing intensity and frequency. Alongside extreme heat, droughts and water scarcity challenge agriculture and everyday living. Wildfires, with their unbridled capacity for destruction, compound the precarious situation. Communities must tackle these recurring climate threats, developing resilient infrastructures and sustainable practices to protect their future. 8. Low-lying coastal areas. Globally, low-lying coastal areas across the globe, such as Louisiana in the USA, the Nile Delta in Egypt, the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, and Jakarta in Indonesia, are at a crossroads. Threatened by rising sea levels, these regions confront frequent and devastating floods. Infrastructure faces severe damage, risking displacement for millions of inhabitants who live and work in these areas. Fertile, arable land becomes submerged, posing challenges to food production and livelihoods. Communities are driven to adapt quickly, entrenching a cycle of constant vigilance and reparation against recurring threats. 9. The Caribbean. For the islands of the Caribbean, including Haiti, Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas, hurricanes are a perennial danger. These powerful storms, intensified by climate change, obliterate homes and livelihoods with distressing regularity. Rising sea levels compound the threat, potentially obliterating coastal areas vital to tourism-driven economies. The destruction of coral reefs, crucial to marine biodiversity, threatens both ecological balance and the fishing industry. As these intertwined vulnerabilities highlight economic pitfalls, Caribbean communities strive to fortify against inevitable climate catastrophes. 10. East Asia. East Asia, comprising China, Japan, and South Korea, experiences the tumultuous symphony of climatic upheavals in full force. Typhoons and flooding wreak havoc on infrastructure, displacing populations and crippling economies. Rising sea levels inch closer to major urban centers, adding an ominous specter of impending calamity. Blistering heat waves further stress electricity grids and human health systems, challenging governments to implement heat action plans. The region's response to these climate threats must blend proactive strategies with sustainable development, setting a benchmark for global climate resiliency efforts.